Tabitha Tanner was the kind of woman people didn't forget easily. She wasn't just beautiful, she was dangerous, loud, and wild in a way that pulled people in. Men loved her, feared her, and hated how much they wanted her. She knew how to turn a man with a wife and kids into a walking wallet. She knew how to make strangers pay for hotel rooms, plane tickets, and anything else she wanted. She wasn't ashamed of it. But beauty doesn't last forever. And when Tabitha's glow started to fade, so did the men. The calls stopped. The money dried up. And the same people who once wanted her now acted like she didn't exist. By July 2022, Tabitha's life had fallen apart. She had no home, no steady work, and nowhere safe to go. That's when she went back to a man named Tyson Tillman, a man who didn't love her, didn't even like her, but who let her stay as long as she gave him what he wanted. The next morning, Tabitha's body was found in an alley in uptown Chicago. She had fallen from the 5th floor of Tyson's building. The medical examiner said it was murder. Surveillance showed Tyson walking away from her body without a second glance. That's how her story ended, not with fame or success, but with her life broken on the cold ground while the city around her kept moving. She wanted to be unforgettable, to rise above the noise of her neighborhood, above the poverty, above the expectations stacked against her. But chasing the dream came with a cost. Piece by piece, Tabitha gave herself away, her time, her body, her peace, all for a taste of the life she thought she deserved. At first, it looked like she was winning. Smiling in photos, flying city to city, admired by men with power and money. But beneath the makeup and bright lights, her heart was breaking. This is not just a story about beauty and fame. This is a story about what happens when the world teaches a woman she is only as valuable as her reflection. She wanted to be unforgettable, to rise above the noise of her neighborhood, above the poverty, above the expectations stacked against her. But chasing the dream came with a cost. Piece by piece, Tabitha gave herself away, her time, her body, her peace, all for a taste of the life she thought she deserved. At first, it looked like she was winning. Smiling in photos, flying city to city, admired by men with power and money. But beneath that makeup and bright lights, her heart and life was fading away. This is not just a story about beauty and fame. This is a story about what happens when the world teaches a woman she is only as valuable when she sleeps around. Tabitha Tanner was born on the south side of Chicago, the youngest of her siblings, the baby her mother swore would make it out and make life count. Her family loved her. They celebrated her birthdays with small cakes and laughter that filled their apartment. As a child, Tabitha's smile could light up a room. She was goofy, loud, and full of energy. People said she would grow into a strong woman. But as she grew older, Chicago felt smaller and harder. The streets weren't kind to dreamers. And for a girl like Tabitha, who wanted to be seen, the world offered two paths: fade into the background or fight for the spotlight. She chose the spotlight. She began to change herself piece by piece. A little more makeup, a tighter dress. The way she posed in photos shifted too. She got implants. She mastered contouring her face until it looked like someone else's. She became the woman Instagram loved. Mixed race, racially ambiguous, the kind of beauty men didn't just notice, they chased. Tabitha wasn't a singer. She wasn't an actress. All she had was her face, her body, and a burning hunger to be unforgettable. She studied women on reality TV, Bad Girls Club, Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives. They were loud. They were chaotic. And they were famous. Tabitha learned quickly that chaos was a kind of currency. She chased it hard. Tabitha thought she was building a career. At first, the photo shoots felt exciting. She would show up in her best heels, ready to pose. But the photographers didn't care about her portfolio. They cared about her body. The meetings that were supposed to bring opportunities turned into offers she didn't want to take. But she was broke. And she was tired of going home empty-handed. Modeling turned into stripping. Stripping turned into escorting. At first, it felt temporary, just a way to pay rent, to keep her phone on, to keep the dream alive. But over time, it became her life. The parties, the late nights, the hotel rooms, they all blurred together. On Instagram, she still looked like a star. Perfect makeup. Designer bags. Smiles that didn't reach her eyes. But offline she was unraveling. By 2020, the cracks started to show. She posted photos from a hospital bed. Her face looked swollen. The sparkle in her eyes was gone. She never explained why she was there. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe dehydration. Maybe drugs. No one knew for sure. When she got out, she jumped right back into the chaos. The cycle had her now, and she couldn't break free. Her family in Chicago saw the spiral. They begged her to come home, to rest, to get help. But she was 33. They couldn't force her to do anything. And the law couldn't intervene unless she was a danger to herself or others. So they watched from afar as the little girl they loved disappeared behind wigs, filters, and pain. Tabitha was back in Chicago by the summer of 2022. She had no place to call home. She stayed wherever she could, friends, strangers, old flames, trading her body for a roof, for food, for safety. That's how she found herself with Tyson Tillman. He was 38. A man with 8 felony convictions and no softness in his eyes. Tyson didn't love her. He didn't even like her. To him, Tabitha was a convenience, someone to use when he wanted and discard when he didn't. On July 7, 2022, she went to his apartment in Uptown. Maybe she thought it was just one more night like all the others. Shelter in exchange for comfort. A temporary escape from the streets. But this time, something shifted. Surveillance cameras caught her pacing outside his building, restless and anxious. Then she disappeared inside. Minutes later, she was falling. Her body tumbled from the 5th-floor window and crashed into the hard ground below. Bones broke. Skin split. Life drained out of her before help ever came. For minutes passed. Tyson didn't call 911. He didn't rush down to help. He walked out of the building, stood over her broken body, and then turned around and walked away. Someone else called for help at 6:11 a.m., but it was too late. By the time firefighters arrived, Tabitha was already gone. The medical examiner ruled it homicide. Police picked Tyson up within hours. At first, he claimed he didn't know what happened. But in a jailhouse phone call, he let the truth slip. "I threw the B****** H out the window," he said, his voice flat and unbothered. No remorse. No panic. Just words, cold and final. Prosecutors pointed to his history of violence and the cruel way he left her in the alley to die. They argued he killed her because he didn't want her there when his girlfriend came over. Instead of pushing her out the door, he pushed her out the window. The court denied him bail. The defense said maybe she slipped. Maybe she jumped. Maybe it was an accident. But the footage, the timing, the phone call, they left no room for maybe. Tabitha Tanner's life ended the way it had been lived in her final years. Fast, chaotic, and surrounded by people who didn't care enough to save her. Tabitha's family laid her to rest in July 2022. The summer air was thick that day, heavy with grief and unanswered questions. There were no news cameras, no viral posts demanding justice. Just a small group of people standing around a wooden casket, whispering prayers into the wind. By December, on what would have been her 34th birthday, they gathered again. This time there were balloons, photos propped up on folding tables, and the soft hum of gospel songs playing from someone's phone. They spoke about her laughter, how it could fill a room and chase away sadness. They remembered her dreams, the way she wanted to be someone unforgettable, the way she believed she could climb higher than the world allowed. They didn't sugarcoat her life. They spoke honestly about her chaos, her mistakes, her stubbornness, and her fragility. They mourned her as she was, not as a headline or a cautionary tale, but as a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a friend. On social media, strangers scrolled past her story like it was a soap opera. To them, she was entertainment. To her family, she was Tabitha, a woman in crisis, a soul who needed more help than the world was willing to give. Her death didn't spark outrage. There were no justice hashtags trending on Twitter. No candlelight vigils broadcast on the evening news. Just silence. Tabitha Tanner became another private tragedy swallowed by public apathy. Tabitha Tanner lived loud. She loved hard. She chased beauty like it was the only thing keeping her alive. She trusted the wrong people, made dangerous choices, and kept running even when her legs gave out. But no one, no matter how messy, no matter how flawed, deserves to die alone, naked, and abandoned in a cold alley. Her story isn't just hers. It belongs to a world that taught her body was her only ticket out. A culture that rewarded her chaos and then mocked her when it consumed her. Behind every filtered photo and flashing light was a woman who needed help. And when the lights faded, no one stayed to catch her. We scroll. We laugh. We judge. But what if we listened instead? What if we understood that glamour often hides pain? That women are more than their looks, their likes, or their mistakes. Every life, no matter how chaotic, deserves rescue. Not ridicule. Tabitha Tanner lived her life out loud, but the world went silent when she needed it most. Hers was a life of laughter and light, of mistakes and second chances, of hope that never quite turned into healing. She deserved better. There are countless women like her, falling through the cracks, screaming for help in ways the world refuses to hear. Don't let their stories end in silence. If Tabitha's story moved you, share this video. Subscribe to this channel. And remember, every life matters, even the ones the world wants to forget.
Till we meet again, we let you fly free. Bye, love you, Tabby. Love you, Tabby. Love you in the world. In the world.
Many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go and prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. Yes. That where I am, ye may be also. And the way ye know, and the place ye know. Thomas saith unto him, Lord, we don't know the place, and we don't know where you're going. How can we know the way? He leadeth me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name. My head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.